I'm Jim Leitner, and this is Amanda Petroff. We're both assistant district attorneys. And today was the culmination of about a 6-month investigation by the University of Houston, the University of Houston Police Department, and the Harris County District Attorney's Office into a hazing event that occurred in November of 2016. The grand jury today returned an indictment against the Phi Kappa Alpha International Fraternity, Inc. for the event of hazing. It's a Class B misdemeanor. When a corporation is indicted, they can receive a fine of anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. The summons will go out and they will be prosecuted in county court. We don't believe that there's ever been a hazing prosecution in Harris County before, but we believe hazing is a problem and always has been a problem. And nationwide, there have been serious injuries and student deaths as a result of hazing. We want this to serve notice that to all the universities, the fraternities, the students, their parents, that hazing is a crime and hazing will be prosecuted in Harris County, that we'll have zero tolerance for that. And that is the reason why we did this investigation. It's the reason why we presented the case to the grand jury today.
So what does the indictment mean?
I can show you. It's a long indictment. So you.
I mean, as far as it says, no individual is indicted, but the fraternity will have to pay a fine, and it says there could be a conviction?
The fraternity can be convicted. The corporation can be convicted. We had the case presented and the grand jury indicted the corporation. They did not indict any individual students that were involved in this. You know, everything is dependent on what the facts of the given case is. In this given case, they returned an indictment against the fraternity.
Could any of the fraternity members still face criminal charges?
You know, every student that participates in hazing is potentially a defendant, and they could be prosecuted. I do not anticipate that we're going to present any more cases to the grand jury or prosecute any further cases in this event.
Can you explain how they did not get indicted when a pledge suffered a lacerated spleen, had to roll in vomit, spit, and feces? How can someone go through that, receive a lacerated spleen, and no one faces any kind of charges for that?
Individually, we chose not to go after the students themselves. In this particular situation, everyone was complicit. Everyone agreed to be doing what they were doing. And I believe that truly everyone thought nobody's going to be prosecuted for this, that hazing, this isn't the kind of hazing that they prosecute in the Northeast because nobody had a lasting injury. We felt that justice would best be served on our initial move into this area of prosecution to let the fraternity know and all the students know that they can be prosecuted. But in this event, when there was no lasting injury, we chose not to go after any of the individual students.
So can you explain what were the injuries and what exactly happened to make you guys go after the indictment?
Well, this was a situation where many individuals were subjected to things like you said, rolling around in vomit and spit and drinking hot beer and doing a lot of major calisthenics. But there were some instances, too, where there was like a scavenger hunt where individuals were told they have a short period of time to obtain certain items to bring back from the scavenger hunt. And the items themselves, some of them are items that you couldn't buy. The only way to get them is to steal them. And then also we had this one situation where they had a game called a glow stick game, whereas in the dark night, the pledge has the glow stick in his hand, has to run down a field to try to get to the other end, and then he's tackled, in the dark by people with dark clothes on, and that is how the ruptured spleen actually occurred. But those are the kind of things that, even though there was no horrendous injuries in this case, it's the kind of thing that could end up in serious injury or death. And, you can have the rite of passage to manhood in a fraternal organization like this without breaking the law. And that's all we want, is to make sure, we don't want to do away with fraternities. We just want to do away with hazing.
Jim, you've been around the courthouse a long time. Explain to us how unusual it is for an entire organization to be indicted for anything.
It's very unusual. I mean, sometimes you have corporations indicted for like pollution and things like that. But, you know, this is kind of a first impression for as long as I've been here. But we felt like in this situation, going after the organization to show all of the students and everybody else, if we could successfully prosecute the fraternity itself, we can successfully prosecute anyone that gets involved in hazing. And our whole purpose is to make this be the end of hazing. Not the end of universities, not the end of fraternities, not the end of brotherhoods, not the end of any of that, but the end of hazing. And that's what we thought would be the best way to stop it.
What about the specifics of what was illegal? Obviously, the injury to the student was taken into consideration. What were the other acts that violated the law specifically? Can you enumerate on that?
Well, basically, I'll provide you all a copy of the indictment. You can see what has been alleged. But it's it's a way to bully students. It's a way to break them down. It's one reason why when something happens, nobody wants to report it. And those are all the kind of things that we want to stop. We want everybody to know that, first of all, don't do it. If you see someone doing, report it. And if it happens to you, report it immediately.
You say you want to send a strong message that you're not going to tolerate hazing, but none of the students involved, the frat members who ruptured the kid's spleen, who tackled him, who made him roll around and all this stuff, none of them are being individually punished. So how does it send a message to people to stop hazing when you go after just the frat that might have to pay some money and not any individual person?
Two of the students that testified today before the grand jury have both been suspended for a year at the University of Houston. There will be lawsuits. There will be a punishment that comes out of this. There just will not be a criminal prosecution of any of the students that were involved. And as I said before, it's all fact specific. In this particular situation, everybody's agreeing to everything that happened. You know, we believe that if people understood that we're not going to let you agree to commit a crime, even if you're the victim of the crime. It's not something that you can agree to do, and it's going to be prosecuted, that we can keep anything bad from really happening in the future. And that was our effort here today.
Were the victims reluctant to come forward, and were the students who committed the hazing, do they seem remorseful?
Everybody seems remorseful now, I guarantee you.
How about the victims of the hazing? Were they reluctant to come forward, or did they immediately?
Everybody was reluctant to come forward. That's why this happened in 2016, and we didn't start an investigation really until about July of 2017.
Jim, typically when an individual is indicted, they get signed to court, they have court appearances. Can you explain to us how it works in this case? Is it the same, or
Why don't you explain?
can you make some sense of
Sure.
that?
So the law allows for, specifically under the Education Code, for charging an organization with the offense of hazing. And so what will happen is a summons will be issued. This particular fraternity is organized in the state of Tennessee. They will be required to appear in court by and through an attorney. So no person will ever be appearing in court. No person can go to jail. But an attorney will appear to represent the fraternity. We could possibly, engage in plea bargaining, but that's to be determined later. And they're subject to a fine of $5,000 to $10,000 as a group.
Wasn't this really said there could be a conviction?
Yes. So the fraternity itself is charged with a crime. They can plead not guilty or they can plead guilty. They could engage in plea bargaining. If they plead not guilty, the case will go to trial. A jury will hear the evidence, and then they will render a verdict, guilty or not guilty. So it's just like a person as far as that goes, as far as the process goes.
And what's your name again, ma'am?
My name is Amanda Petroff. I'm also, yes, it's Petroff, as in Frank, F as in Frank.
How many spelling of Amanda?
Amanda,
And
yes.
what's your title?
I'm the chief at the intake division here.